What would you do if the prince of your village chose you as his bride, but your heart already belonged to someone else? And not just anyone, but a man from a rival village. A love that could start a war. A jealous prince who would never accept rejection. And a secret meeting under the moon that would soon be discovered. But the real question is this: would she follow the command of a prince, or the call of her heart? Tonight's story is one of forbidden love, betrayal, heartbreak, courage, and a decision that nearly destroyed two villages forever. Before we go deeper into this story, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share, so you never miss stories like this again. The sun rose slowly over the land of Udala, painting the sky with soft shades of orange and gold. Morning in the village always began the same way. Roosters crowed loudly. Women swept the red earth in front of their homes. Smoke from cooking fires rose gently into the sky. Children ran barefoot through narrow pathways, laughing and chasing each other between mud houses. Life was simple, peaceful, predictable. But at the very center of the village stood a place that reminded everyone of power. The palace, a large compound surrounded by tall wooden gates and guarded by warriors holding long spears. Inside lived Prince Abena, the only son of the king. Tall, strong, handsome, and known throughout the region for his bravery in hunting and battle. But the people also whispered something else about him. Prince Abena was proud, very proud, the kind of man who believed nothing in life should ever be denied to him. Not land, not power, and certainly not a woman he desired. Among the many women in Udala, one name was spoken more often than others. Adaeze, the daughter of Akari, the palm wine tapper. She lived in a modest hut near the edge of the village. Her family was not wealthy. They owned no land. They held no titles. Yet somehow, Adaeze seemed to shine brighter than many daughters of chiefs. Her beauty was not loud or extravagant. It was soft, natural, the kind of beauty that made people pause when she walked past. But it was not her face alone that made people admire her. It was her heart. Adaeze was known for kindness. If an old woman needed help carrying firewood, Adaeze helped. If a child was crying in the market, Adaeze comforted them. Even strangers who visited Udala noticed her warmth. Many young men dreamed of marrying her. But Adaeze had quietly turned them all away. Because her heart already belonged to someone. Someone no one in Udala would ever accept. Not far from Udala flowed a wide river. The river marked a natural border. On one side stood Udala. On the other side lay another village called Umudik. For generations, the two villages had lived with tension between them. Old disputes about farmland, arguments over hunting territories, stories of past battles that elders still remembered. Though no war currently raged between them, the distrust never truly disappeared. People from Udala rarely crossed the river, and people from Umudik rarely visited Udala. Yet 3 years earlier, something unexpected happened beside that very river. Something that would change everything. One quiet evening, Adaeze had gone to the river to fetch water. The sun was already sinking behind the trees. The air was calm, peaceful. She knelt beside the water, filling her clay pot. But suddenly she heard footsteps behind her. Startled, she turned quickly. Standing there was a young man she had never seen before. Tall, strong, with the posture of a hunter. He looked just as surprised as she was. For a moment neither spoke. Then the stranger finally said softly, "Do not be afraid, I mean you no harm." His name was Chinedu, a hunter from Umudike. And that was the moment everything began. At first, their meetings were accidental, then occasional, then intentional. Adaeze began visiting the river more often. Chinedu also found reasons to pass that way. They talked. They laughed. They shared stories about their villages. What started as friendship slowly turned into something deeper, something stronger, something dangerous, because both of them understood the truth. A girl from Udala, a man from Umudike. Their love was forbidden. Yet love rarely listens to the rules of villages, or the fears of elders, or the borders drawn by old conflicts. And so, they kept meeting, always at night, always in secret, always beside the river. If this story is already pulling you in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because what's coming next, you won't want to miss. Back in Udala, Prince Abana had begun noticing Adaeze. At first, it was simple admiration, then curiosity, then something else. Desire. He watched the way she walked through the market, the way villagers greeted her warmly, the way her laughter seemed to brighten the air around her. And slowly, a decision formed in his mind. The prince would marry Adaeze, not because she loved him, but because he wanted her. And Prince Abana had never been denied anything in his life. One hot afternoon, the royal drums echoed through the village. Boom! 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 Everyone knew what that meant. An important announcement. Villagers quickly gathered in the palace courtyard. The king sat proudly on his throne. Beside him stood Prince Abana. Then the chief elder stepped forward and raised his staff. People of Udala, he announced loudly. Our prince has chosen the woman he wishes to marry. Excited whispers spread across the crowd. Then the elder spoke the name. Adaeze, daughter of Akari. Silence. Shock. Adaeze felt the world spin around her. Her heart pounded, because she knew one thing immediately. This marriage would destroy everything. That very night, Adaeze ran toward the river. Her heart heavy, her eyes filled with tears. Chinedu was already waiting under the moonlight. When he saw her face, he knew something terrible had happened. Adaeze, what is wrong? Her voice trembled. The prince has chosen me as his bride. The words fell between them like thunder. Chinedu stood still, silent. Then he whispered, "You cannot marry him." "I have no choice," she replied softly. "If I refuse, my family could suffer." Tears rolled down her face. "I love you," she said. "But love may not be enough. Stay with me on this journey, and if you enjoy stories like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and share to support more powerful storytelling." But that night, they were not alone. Hidden in the tall grass nearby was a palace guard named Nwaka. He had followed Adaeze out of curiosity. What he discovered shocked him. The prince's future bride, meeting secretly with a man from Umudike, a rival village. Nwaka did not hesitate. Before sunrise, he rushed to the palace. And by dawn, Prince Abana knew everything. When the prince heard the truth, rage filled his chest like fire. "My bride loving another man," he growled. His pride could not accept such humiliation. But instead of canceling the wedding, he made a darker plan. "Prepare the wedding," he ordered calmly. Then he added one more instruction. "Find the man from Umudike. Bring him to me, alive. Stay with me on this journey, and if you enjoy stories like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and share to support more powerful storytelling." Days later, Chinedu walked through the forest after a hunting trip. Suddenly, warriors surrounded him. Spears pointed, ropes thrown. Within moments, he was captured. They dragged him across the river and into Udala, straight to the palace courtyard. Adaeze screamed when she saw him tied with chains. "Please," she begged the prince. "Let him go." But Prince Adaeze simply smiled coldly. "You will marry me tomorrow," he said. "And if you refuse," he pointed to Chinedu, "he dies." The wedding day arrived. Drums echoed. Dancers performed. Colorful fabrics decorated the palace courtyard. But Adaeze felt like a prisoner walking to execution. Chinedu stood tied to a wooden pole nearby. Forced to watch, the chief priest raised his staff. The crowd became silent. "Adaeze," he asked, "do you accept Prince Adaeze as your husband?" Time seemed to stop. Adaeze looked at the prince, then at Chinedu, then at the crowd, and she made the bravest decision of her life. "I cannot marry him." Gasps exploded across the courtyard. Before the prince could react, the king stood up. His voice cut through the chaos. "No one will die today." The crowd fell silent. Then the king revealed a long-hidden truth. Years ago, he had secretly tried to make peace with Umudike. But pride from both villages kept the hatred alive. He looked at Adaeze and Chinedu. Perhaps this love was meant to unite what we failed to repair. Prince Adaeze stood frozen. But finally, he gave the order. "Release him." The chains fell. Adaeze ran into Chinedu's arms. "Stay with me on this journey, and if you enjoy stories like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and share to support more powerful storytelling." Months later, something remarkable happened. A wedding took place. But this time, both villages attended. Drums from Udala, dancers from Umudike, two rivals standing together in peace. Adaeze and Chinedu were married beneath the open sky. And even Prince Adaeze watched from the crowd. Silent, thoughtful, perhaps learning a lesson that power alone cannot teach. Sometimes love appears where we least expect it. Sometimes courage is simply telling the truth when everyone expects silence. And sometimes, one brave decision can change the future of many. Because real love does not grow from fear. It grows from truth. If this story touched your heart, if you believe love should never be forced, then hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more powerful epic African stories filled with love, betrayal, suspense, and unforgettable life lessons. And remember, the next story may be even more shocking than this one.